So as your legal advisor, we can help ensure that you're protected in your contracts. And the way that works is before you enter into an agreement, there's a reason you're going into that contract. There's a benefit that you expect to get. And we talk about that with our clients, and we make sure that the agreement is tailored to actually ensure to the greatest degree possible that the benefit is going to be received. In addition, with any contract situation, we're going to have some things in mind that we know you need that you may or may not be aware of, and we'll make sure that those are addressed as well. Some of the most overlooked contract clauses that we look at would include payment. Not that people aren't focused on payment, but the precision around the payment and when the payment's released and what the timing is and what has to be done to earn the payment are all big considerations. Another thing that really needs to be looked at hard is the term of the agreement. If you're doing business with a vendor, the vendor is going to try to keep you locked into the agreement indefinitely and might have some automatic rollover clauses. And if we're looking at that from your point of view, we're going to try to make sure that you don't have automatic renewals that keep you locked into a contract that's not working for you any longer. And then other overlooked clauses or underappreciated clauses in a contract have to do with representations about the state of facts that's true for the business, and some warranties and promises. And we always work with our clients to make sure that any representation or promise or warranty that they're giving is very tailored and very specific to what is real in the business so that they're not over-promising. So legal counsel can assist you in your vendor and supplier negotiations. We want to make sure of several things that are important to you. One is that you're not locked in to a contract indefinitely, that you have the right to exit the agreement if and when it's not working for you. Another is we want to make sure that the payment requirements are reasonable, which means that you're receiving the expected benefit before you're giving up too much money in the deal. And then another thing we want to make sure of is that there's a way to objectively measure or evaluate whether you're receiving the benefit that's promised. And how we're going to measure the vendor's performance, whether you need to have audit rights, for example, to key into whether the vendor's charging you the right amount, and just generally how can we objectively evaluate the performance of the vendor. So there are several things that you want to avoid as a business or a business owner when you're preparing your agreements. It can vary depending on whether you're the supplier or the customer, or you're the buyer or the seller. But in general, you want to avoid ambiguous or loose language around the deliverable. You want the deliverable to be tightly described so that each party to the contract knows whether it's being performed and delivered. Another thing you want to avoid potentially is being locked into a contract long-term, even after the point when it's no longer working for you. Relatedly, especially if you're working with a customer, you want to avoid over-promising or having a vague deliverable, because in that situation, the customer is inevitably going to have a big version in their mind of what you're providing, whereas you had a tinier version or a more limited scope. So you want to be very tight around that language. So for a business and a business owner, it's really great to have an attorney at your side who can strategize with you. And one thing you may or may not appreciate is that even when you have an attorney at your side, the attorney doesn't have to surface. You can just go to that attorney for counsel and for advice and suggestions and handle the negotiations yourself. Or if the situation calls for it, you can have the attorney stand up on your behalf and handle some of the negotiations. If you have any questions about contract negotiation and what's important in a contract and what you need to insist upon in a contract, please give us a call at the Crest Business Law Group.